guys think about great communication, what comes to mind? I don't know about you, but when I think about great communication, there's a movie scene that comes to mind. It's a movie scene from the movie Braveheart. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, it's a great movie. But in this scene, we are about to witness an epic battle between the sons of Scotland who have bravely stood up against the tyranny of the ruling English lords at that time. The leading character in this movie, his name is William Wallace. He's played by well-known actor Mel Gibson. In this scene, he rides his horse back and forth in the front army line, shouting these words. He said, "Sons of Scotland, today I see a whole country, whole army of my countrymen in defiance of tyranny. I see that you have come here as free men, and free men you are. But what would you do with that freedom? Would you fight?" And someone in the crowd said, "No, we won't fight that. They look scary. We're going to run and we're going to live." To that, William Wallace replied, "Fight, you may die. And run, you may live, at least for a while. And many years from now, dying in your beds, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance to come back here today and tell our enemies that you may take our lives, but you may never take our freedom?" Everybody say freedom! Anyway, so that's a very inspiring scene, and whenever I think about communication, that to me is communication at its highest level. I know I kind of use an extreme example, it's kind of out there. So, and probably many of us have dreamed about giving a speech like that someday, and someday maybe you will, so maybe this will prepare you for that. But the reality is that many of us work in an office environment. We're stuck in an office and in front of a computer, and it's tame and it's not very interesting. But I want to encourage us that there are many exciting things that happen in the office environment, and we need to equip ourselves to be great communicators. And whether we like it or not, many of us work in office environments, and our personal success and the success of our organizations hinges on these communications. So today I'm here to hopefully offer you some insight, and I want to offer you 7 key ingredients on office environment communication. So the first one is communicate in a way that builds trust, honor, and respect. I mentioned this one first because this one is the foundation on which all other communication, meaningful communication, can occur. I think we have all seen in social media these days that it is so easy to turn a conversation sour because people feel like they have been disrespected and dishonored, And it's really sad that we have, as society, has lost the ability to communicate because we have lost the ability to respect another human being. And I think this is such an important issue for an organization because without that, the organization environment can become very toxic, and every employee will end up looking out for themselves, and the organization will suffer greatly. Second key ingredient is clearly communicate expectations to everyone on the team up front, and also take the time to do this right. We live in a day and age that's so fast-paced. I work in a software environment, and when do they want projects done? They want it done today, always now. So, and it's because of that tendency to rush into projects is just always there, and it's a constant struggle. We always fight against that. So, because of that, we end up, in the middle of a project, we end up with a lot of frustration. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, "How come nobody told me this up front? We could have done a much better job if somebody told me this up front." But that happens, So I think that if we can just do a better job of clearly communicating expectation to everybody up front, I think we'll be in a much better place. Plus, we have so many tools now. On the computer, we can use, for example, a software management tool, a project management tool that everybody can have access to easily, and everybody would be able to know what expectations are. So third ingredient would be communicate a accountability mechanism to your team. So now that when everybody knows their expectations, we also need a way to keep them accountable. And because most of the time, people are self-motivated, they will do what they're supposed to do, but unfortunately there are times that people are lazy or whatever, or slacking off for whatever reason, and we need a way to catch that, and because if we don't catch that, then it's possible the overall success of the project might be in jeopardy. So, but another aspect of the accountability is we also use it as a way to proactively get real-time updates on our project progress. It's more about that than catching people slacking off. So, for example, in the software world, we use a methodology called Scrum, and we actually literally everybody gets into the room, same room every day, and we communicate status updates. It's just a great way to build team momentum and teamwork. So fourth ingredient would be, I think I've mentioned three so far. The fourth one would be exercise emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a buzzword. It's a fancy way to say maturity. We can all get emotional in a meeting because we're all emotional beings, and a lot of times we can get irritated or angered. But the thing is, we're all adults as well, and we work in a place where other people work, and we need to have self-control, and we need to have professionalism. And unfortunately, I've heard many stories, and including myself, that I've in the past I've not had emotional intelligence or active maturity in the meeting. I've let my emotions out, and I've made some mistakes, and I regret that to this day. And sometimes I wonder how things could have turned out differently. So, and fifth ingredient, it would be recognize crucial conversations and prepare for them ahead of time. So there's a book called Crucial Conversations. It's about conversations at high stakes. So there's really an art to that. A lot of times, it's ironic that in a crucial conversation, because the stakes are so high, people get really nervous about it, and they really want what they desire, but they can't get what they want. They also do a poor job of listening to other people, and so they end up in a fight or flight mode. So I think that's a really bad situation, and we really need to be more wise about recognizing these crucial conversations and do a better job preparing for that. And moving on, the sixth ingredient I would offer is prefer face-to-face communication over electronic ones. We're all sitting in front of a computer, and it's so easy to just rely on the computer for every kind of communication. But we all know that doesn't matter how many words you use, how many emojis you use in your messages, people can still misinterpret you. And sometimes that can result in unnecessary misunderstanding and frustration. So if you have a chance, I always prefer face-to-face communication. They get the whole you. They get to experience the whole you. They get to see your facial expression, your body language. So do that. And the last one, but not the least, I would want to offer the seventh ingredient would be believe in and cheer on your teammates. And this goes side by side with the first one, which is build a culture of honor, trust, respect. Sometimes you just never know what one word of encouragement can mean to your coworkers. You say that, do that with your emails, with your chats, walk in our office and just tell them what a good job they're doing. So, all right, so offer 7 ingredients, and I will conclude my speech by quoting a verse from Proverbs 18:21. It says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And I use that to remind myself a lot. It's so important that we use our words wisely, and we also watch how we communicate to other people. It matters a lot. I guess lastly, my fellow Toastmasters, don't be deceived by the comfort and ease of an office and a computer. There's sometimes you can navigate through some really tricky waters if you don't watch how you communicate. So I would encourage you to continue to learn and find out the best way to communicate. And hopefully today I give you some insight in office communication, motivate you to become a better white-collar communicator.
If you guys would take a minute to write some notes out for Chuck.